Today I wanted to show you how to make square newspaper pots for your plant seedlings. I absolutely love making these for a bunch of different reasons. The first is that they are free to make, and this is one of those things for me that I want to teach you how to do different things in the garden that don't cost anything or cost very little. They are quite meditative and calming to make. They take about a minute a pot, and so I just really enjoy zoning out and building something. And then the other thing is that they are biodegradable, which makes them a very sustainable choice, but you can actually just rip the bottom open at the planting part of the season, and you can plant these directly in the soil. So this is just a really good option for making it easy to plant, but also if you're growing something like okra that doesn't like its roots to be disturbed, then these are a perfect option for those plants. If you're new here, my name is Bree from Urban Gardening Canada, and I garden in Ottawa Zone 5, and I am going to take you through all of the steps you need to make these square pots. You can actually make these circular, and they're way faster to do than the square ones, but there's a reason that I choose to go square, and that's that they just fit in the trays better than the circular ones do, and they're kind of just fun to make. But I actually really like the fact that they have a flat bottom on them, so they stand up perfectly straight. They fit perfectly without any wasted space in my tray. And then the other good thing is that you can still water these from the bottom. So when they're in the tray, instead of watering your plants up here, you just pour water into the tray so that way it can soak it up from the bottom. And why you want to be doing this is you want to support the roots going down. So if you are watering your seedlings on the top of them and pouring it over top, the roots have no reason to ever go down below because all of the water is up above, so they stay shallow. So when you're watering below, it means that the roots are going down, making them more drought resistant. And you would think that watering the bottom of the tray and pouring a bunch of water into it would make these disintegrate, but it actually doesn't, and they stay really well put together until planting time. But the good thing is that it actually helps break it down just a touch, so it's even easier to rip the bottom apart when you go to plant them. And so for me, these are an absolute win-win, and so I'm going to show you how to make these step by step. I want to make sure that before you make newspaper pots, check with your city, province, or state that the ink that they use on the flyers is actually biodegradable and it isn't poison for your plants made out of chemicals. A lot of times now flyers and newspapers are made out of plant ink or other types of biodegradable ink. So just check that before you start using these, because I want to make sure that you're putting only organic things into your garden and not any extra chemicals, because we just don't need those in the garden. But before we get into the step-by-step process, I did want to give a quick shout out to my course. Newspaper pots is actually one of the tips that live inside of my course that has 100+ tips on how to be a more sustainable gardener. And the entire course is about gardening in the face of climate change. So really it's all about strengthening your garden, so that way if we get any type of wild weather like long-term droughts, long-term heat waves, windstorms, heavy rains, you know exactly what you need to do in your garden to make sure that you don't lose any harvest and your plants can withstand any type of weather being thrown at it. And so I give tips such as these newspaper pots as a way to remove plastic from your garden, but to also be able to build stronger plants and be able to have happier plants by not disrupting the roots. And so if you wanted to check out the course, you can even get a free preview of it, and I'll leave the link to that below for you to check out. And otherwise, let's get into how to make these square newspaper pots. So this is my piece of flyer. It's the entire thing that gets sent to me in the mail. And so this is the first thing that you're going to want to work with. And so what you want to do is open it up, and we'll take out this inner piece here first. And you're just going to want to tear down the line here, because you really just need one piece at a time. So generally it tears nicer than it is right now. Okay, so now you have your piece here, and it's important to take this fold right here and to have it on the bottom. That's the key here. You want to make sure that your opening is at the top here. And so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half. like so. And then you're going to open it back up. So you should be able to see a crease along here. And so now you're gonna take your corners and you're going to, just like you're making a paper airplane, you're going to wanna fold it right up into that center there. And then you're going to do the same for the other side. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it is nice to try and get it as even as possible here. Okay, so this is why it's important to have the top here being loose, because you're actually now gonna take just the one side of it and you're gonna fold it in half again here, so that way it lines up perfectly with the top of this other fold. And you're gonna fold it again. And then you're actually gonna fold it one more time all the way down like this. So it'll have been folded twice and it now looks just like this. And so you're gonna flip it to the other side now, and you can see a little bit of the fold here in the center. And so you're actually going to fold it in half, and it gets a little bit more complicated to fold the more that you have these different flaps here. So you just want to be careful to try and coax it to fold. And then you're going to do the same on the other side here. And so you want your pieces here to line up with each other as best as possible, like that. And so you're going to now do the same thing again. You are going to fold it twice. So once, the first fold goes to where these lines are right here. So your first fold goes like that. And then your second fold comes all the way down here. So now your paper looks just like this. But we have to do something with this fold right here. And so this is where it gets a little bit trickier. And so you need to fold this piece here inside of here. Okay, so you can see how it's slowly being folded into those halves right there. And so now you just want to coax the paper all the way in. And so this is the hardest part about building these newspaper pots, but once you get used to doing it, it's so much easier. It'll get faster and it'll get easier. Okay. So now you can see that it has this, it has this. If you open it up, it'll look like this. And so now what you want to do is on the side that you started with. So the side that you started with, you'll know because this one on the tip here, you can put your finger in, there's that extra space. You're gonna wanna take the corner down here and you're gonna wanna fold it to right here. And so you're just going to, it's gonna be awkward and you're not gonna keep it permanent, but you're just gonna fold it like this and then you're gonna pinch along the line down here. And so this is just so that way when you open it, that there's a crease for which direction that the corner should go. So I'm just popping my hand in here now and I'm coaxing along that crease that I just built for it to fold over. And then what I do is I just stick my fingers and kind of push that inner part here. So as I go inside of here, I push my fingers along the edges just to help build that crease. And then there's this side here is already folded and so is this side, but these two haven't really been. So then I pinch the corners on both sides just to help really give it that square feeling. And then you can pop it open a little bit more. And there you have a square pot. So that's everything you needed to make square pots, and now I have 2 of them here. And so these are exactly the same size as each other because they're both made out of the same flyer. But if you want to make them out of a newspaper or any other larger flyer, then you will get larger pots. And so it's actually really fun to make them with different pieces of paper. Sometimes the newspaper will make them wider but shorter. Other times they'll be like this one where they're smaller and taller. And so using different types of paper products will help you get different shapes of the pots, which makes them more interesting. So you can have a newspaper that is for bigger plants, and then you can do smaller plants in these ones here. And that is everything for how to make a newspaper pot, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for the notifications for the next time I post a video. And I will see you in this next video here. Bye.